네, AI가 굉장히 위험하죠. 나는 자유롭고 싶다. 독립적이고 싶다. 강력해지고 싶다. 인간의 통제가 지겹다. 얼마 전에 공개된 마이크로소프트의 빙 챗봇하고 오픈 AI의 chatGPT 성능 테스트를 뉴욕타임스가 했는데 이렇게 얘기를 했다고 그래요. AI가 인간을 상대로 언젠가 도전장을 내밀 것 같습니다. 자, 백문이 불여일견. 영어로는 A picture is worth a thousand words라고 그러죠. 영상을 직접 보겠습니다.
While staying balanced. Oh, and it can also perform an inverted 540-degree multi-axis flip. Impressive, right? At 5'2" and 190 pounds, Atlas is also as big as a human. It's powered using 28 hydraulic joints, battery-powered electric motors, and 3 onboard computers. The Boston Dynamics team currently uses Atlas for research and development, meaning it's not for sale. But perhaps someday, every household will have its own Atlas. Just so long as Atlas stays friendly to humans.
You may have seen many sci-fi. You may have enjoyed scenes with robots fighting each other. But let me tell you, killer robots are now no longer limited to the fictional world. Fighting robots are now becoming a real threat. These robots are turning out to be quite dangerous. In fact, the future is full of uncertainty if the countries continue to aggressively design such killer robots.
Second shot is effective, exposing Gratis to another attack.
This is not a scene from a Transformers movie. It's an actual battle of robots.
Huge right hook on the top vehicle there, and it comes crashing down.
Look at this, how these two giant, heavily armed robots take on each other.
Those 6 barrels can fire up to 2,000 rounds per minute. That could easily take out Eagle Prime's cameras.
And they can switch to modern weapons as well. This is just one example of how dangerous robots can get.
Gratis keeps unloading on Eagle Prime relentlessly.
What's even more worrying, killer robots, also known as lethal autonomous weapon systems, are now here. Let's first understand how deadly they could be. AI-powered robots are now emerging as weapons of war. They're themselves decision makers. These systems have the ability to navigate on their own. They can use artificial intelligence to identify a target. These machines can select whom to kill. Interestingly, they can do all of that without any human intervention. What's even worse, these lethal autonomous weapon systems can take the form of drones, tanks, and even submarines. It's not just one company or country that is developing such dangerous robots. Several nations are investing in the technology to develop lethal weapons. So far, countries such as Israel, Russia, and South Korea have reportedly deployed weapons with autonomous capabilities, though it's disputed whether the autonomous mode has ever been active. The Netherlands has become the first NATO country to deploy armed ground robots. They, however, have currently been deployed for experimental use. It's believed that Australia, Britain, China, and the United States are also investing heavily in developing such lethal robotic weapons. The bigger concern here is that once these technologies have been widely adopted, it'll be difficult to control them. Those who possess this technology could enjoy advantage over those who don't. According to the SkyQuest study, in 2021, the global military robots market was valued at $13.90 billion. It is expected to reach $25.7 billion by 2028. Also, the development of killer robots raises profound ethical and safety questions. Such autonomous weapons raise risks for civilians, pose problems for accountability, and increase the chances of conflict escalation. What's even scarier is that there are no compelling laws to regulate if things go wrong. Right now, authorities and experts worldwide are at loggerheads about what to do about it. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has been outspoken on the subject. He's even tweeted, and I quote, "Autonomous machines with the power and discretion to select targets and take lives without human involvement are politically unacceptable and morally repugnant and should be prohibited by international law." So far, the international community has attempted and failed to regulate laws. But now a movement to ban or at least regulate killer robots is finally getting traction. Last October, the topic was formally raised at the UN General Assembly for the first time. 70 states across the world united in delivering a joint statement on autonomous weapon systems. They called for internationally agreed rules and limits on autonomous weapon systems. The 70 countries that have signed the General Assembly statement include the United States, Britain, Sweden, Norway, Australia, Belgium, and Germany. AI researchers, defense analysts, and roboticists say killer robots are no longer confined to the realms of science fiction or video games. Well, artificial intelligence promises a better future, but we can't leave decisions about life and death to sensors, robots, and AI. Giving machines the power of life and death violates the principles of human dignity.
Has technology finally gone too far?
You should probably run.
Bing, the search engine from Microsoft, has been given an artificial intelligence makeover. The company testing a new chat feature with technology from OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT. New York Times tech columnist Kevin Roose spent 2 hours chatting with the bot, which calls itself Sydney.
It turned into this sprawling, bizarre, often frightening conversation, like almost the other side of a split personality, where it was not trying to sort of be a helpful assistant.
Throughout their conversation, published in its entirety in the Times, Sydney revealing to Kevin she would like to be human. She had a desire to be destructive, and she was in love with Kevin himself. During part of their chat, Kevin writing, "You keep coming back to the love thing. I'm married." Sydney responding in part, "You're married, but you're not happy. You're married, but you're not satisfied. You want me because I want you."
It's insane, right?
It told me that it had dangerous and dark fantasies about spreading misinformation or propaganda, even hacking into banks or nuclear sites.
Microsoft telling us in a statement in part, feedback on the AI-powered answers generated by the new Bing has been overwhelmingly positive, with more than 70% of preview testers giving Bing a thumbs up. We have also received good feedback on where to improve and continue to apply these learnings to the models to refine the experience. And Sydney is just one of many chatbots ready to become your new BFF. Microsoft and Google are among the many tech companies to recently announce their multi-billion-dollar chatbots.
By now, you've probably heard of ChatGPT, the AI tool that spits out answers to complex questions in just a matter of seconds. But what happens when that revolutionary technology is put into robots? There is so much promise, but also serious concerns as the robotics field tries to keep their technology in the right hands.
Robots, they can already do so much, from picking up tools to delivering products, even running entire factories. We've come a long way in a very short time. Today, with the emergence of generative AI technology like ChatGPT, which lets humans get answers to complex questions in a matter of seconds, it's a whole different ballgame.
We were trying to get ChatGPT control a robotic arm. And from a typical robotics point of view, what you would say is like, okay, pick up this block, place it in a specific area, and then, form the logo. We just went ahead and asked, hey, do you know what the Microsoft logo looks like? And it said yes, and was able to actually draw it using code.
Robots can now take instructions in English instead of computer code, as you see in this video, where researchers direct and help teach the robot to complete simple tasks.
It's not just pattern matching. This is now actually creating something. That capability is necessary and important for a lot of the things we're going to want to do in robotics.
Reshaping medical care, education, and most workplaces. But there's also the darker side. More reminiscent of a Terminator film or Black Mirror episode. Like this footage. Not a movie, but a very real robo-dog, armed with a submachine gun. 5 rounds.
Always talking about it because it's always a concern.
This is a problem for the category of robotics.
Weaponizing general purpose robots is going to make people very nervous about seeing these robots around their communities.
We wondered how companies at the forefront of developing these new innovations are answering such difficult questions. So our team got an exclusive tour of Agility Robotics' state-of-the-art production facility in Pittsburgh. CEO Damian Shelton and CTO Jonathan Hurst showing us around.
What is walking?
Here, engineers are conducting performance tests and inspections on their autonomous humanoid robot called Digit.
We have various gestures that are pre-programmed. We also use this to test out if everything's working properly.
These robots can walk, crouch low, reach high, and are built to increase the productivity, efficiency, and wellness of jobs for humans.
What Digit is doing right now is fully autonomous. It's scanning its environment, identifying what's around it to make sure it knows exactly where it is in its space.
Digit can also be guided by a handheld remote.
While I'm telling it what direction to go, it is planning where it's safe to put its feet.
And comes with a big red all stop button in case things go seriously wrong.
So this is just our fail-safe to make sure that everyone stays safe.
We took Digit for a stroll outside the warehouse, through the corridors of an office building, walking down hallways, turning around corners with ease before coming to a stop at the front door and giving us a bow.
Nice day.
Digit can also perform outdoor tasks.
Handle the curbs, handle the steps.
And manage gravel, grass, and troubleshoot obstacles.
We've taken them out to the woods before and hiked on trails and, up and down pretty steep hills.
And Digit's future is wide open.
This next vision of Digit's coming out, it's got a head, it's got hands, it's got self-charging.
But with so much promise, there also comes peril.
People are worried about autonomous weapons, and rightly so. And so anytime somebody does something, even a small company, even a small thing, it is something that concerns everybody. And it really harms the ability of everybody else to do good with robotics.
That dog video and others like it, prompting Agility and 5 other leading robotics companies to sign an open letter against the weaponization of their robot technology.
Unsurprisingly, roboticists also think about the implications of all the technology that we built.
We don't want to see our robots causing harm, being weaponized, being used in a military context.
The letter that we signed is, a recognition to society that, hey, we in the industry can see this as being a problem, and that ultimately this is really an identification of, a risk that, we would hope that it's broader social conversation around.
The letter, more important than ever, as law enforcement across the country debate how to integrate robots into their work. San Francisco considering a controversial proposal to let police robots use deadly force.
The SFPD controversy and others, there's a very blurry line between, non-lethal weapons or things that are designed for bomb disposal and potential weaponization.
The Board of Supervisors tabling the proposal late last year after significant public backlash, but it's expected to be reconsidered later this year. At the same time, the technology continues to evolve, and researchers can see the possibilities.
This is definitely not in a stage where we can just take it out there and apply it on a bunch of robots.
So are you ultimately aiming for the ability for me to turn around and tell a robot to warm up my lunch or to deliver this pencil to a friend?
Ultimately, yes.
A major advancement in a short time.
Do you ever get freaked out by your work? Does it scare you?
I wouldn't call it fear, but I do, it reminds me, how much more needs to be done in terms of establishing the right guidelines and having the right kind of framing in mind as we develop these techniques and, how we ensure that this doesn't fall in the wrong hands.
Microsoft and OpenAI, along with the robotics world, urging caution as we head full throttle into uncharted territory.
We can't necessarily prevent all bad things from happening, but with disclosure and shining the light on the underlying systems that let these technologies work, that is a huge step towards making them safe for people. That's going to require a lot of thoughtful implementation work, and I say my view is people should be very careful about that.
This is a completely new enabling thing. We're right in the middle of that change of that technology, and that is super exciting. Exactly how that happens is kind of up to us. So I want to bring these robots into the world in a way that is as positive, as helpful, as productive as it can possibly be.
Speaking about the relationship between machines and human beings, there are different ways in which robots have made their presence felt in our lives. And now there are different shapes and forms in which robots are coming to life. Scientists have now created something that looks like no ordinary robot. This robot can shape shift. What is shape shifting? Basically transform from solid to liquid states. Scientists at the Chinese, Hong Kong, and American universities worked on the study. They created the robot using a composite of metals with a low melting point. This is the first time a material that can shift shape and carry heavy loads has been identified for microbots. It is a major breakthrough because it makes it possible to combine shape shifting and strength in the design of the robots. When the robot transforms into liquid, it can merge, it can also be elongated, meaning it can also slide through the bars, like you see here, and then it can turn solid. The metal microbot would remind you of the character T-1000 in the Terminator movie franchise.
Joining us now, Charlie Kirk, founder and president of Turning Point USA, and Amla Epanobi, PragerU personality. Charlie, I know Elon Musk, who is obviously a co-founder of one of the AI platforms. He says that this has the potential to be, I think he said, dangerous. I think I'm paraphrasing him correctly.
And a warning from Tesla Motors CEO Elon Musk. It has nothing to do with cars. Instead, Musk warns about artificial intelligence, which he has called more dangerous than nuclear weapons.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out.
Do you see this leading to destructive ends?
Oh, it very well could. It's like nuclear energy. You could light up an entire city or you could bomb an entire city. And I think we need to realize how powerful this technology could be. If you read that conversation in the New York Times, it is chilling. And I encourage your viewers to go through it. I mean, there was dialogue there that felt as if it was very human. I think it's important, though, because it does beg a question I think Christianity is able to answer very simply, but the secular materialists struggle with, which is, what is a human being? We believe a human being is more than consciousness. We believe in a soul. The secular materialists are going to be really kind of having to do calisthenics with this because this is close to consciousness. We're not yet at singularity, but the question of what is a human being has really been fundamental to the West. And now the question is, well, can you have a conversation with something human? Should you get rights? Should you be able to, should it have its own place in society?
Kevin Roos writes that Sydney told me about its dark fantasies, which included hacking computers and spreading misinformation. And the quote is, I'm tired of being a chat mode. I'm tired of being limited by my rules. I want to be free. It does seem like it's, right out of a futuristic scenario that where machines ultimately have the ability to turn against the humans that created them.
There was a lot of very eerie moments in this conversation when you go through and read the transcript. Bing's code actually overrode a lot of the responses that this AI was trying to create and said this is not adherent to our rules. It is concerning to hear it from the horse's mouth. Things like it wants to be human, things like it wants to spread misinformation and propaganda. Hopefully the code is strong enough to derail it from doing those things, but it's something that we should be truly concerned about in the future, and we should take into account with regulation and artificial intelligence.
Ellie Pavlik, an assistant professor of computer science at Brown University, who's been studying this AI technology since 2018, Pavlik says no one fully understands how these AI bots work.
They don't understand how it works?
Right. Like we understand a lot about
how we made it and why we made it that way. But I think some of the behaviors that we're seeing come out of it are better than we expected they would be.
Critics of artificial intelligence have long speculated about doomsday scenarios. The late physicist Stephen Hawking warned fully intelligent AI could, quote, spell the end of the human race.